In this video, we'll be taking a look at two NFL games happening on August 15, 2025, and providing you with free team picks and total picks for each one of those games, so 4 picks in total. Welcome back to Cash Out Sports. Let's dive right into it. Oh, and don't forget to subscribe and to click the bell icon to get notified as soon as these videos get released so that you have more time to plan out your bets. As we provide these videos on a daily basis, I can guarantee that you'll have all the important information that you'll need on these two NFL games after fully watching this video. One more thing before we start, if you would like to gain access to our best exclusive sports picks to take your journey to the next level, then check out our Patreon in the link down below where we offer our best single picks, parlay picks, and much more. Now let's get started. Tennessee Titans versus Atlanta Falcons. Tennessee and Atlanta will be looking to pick up their first preseason victory when they square off at Mercedes-Benz Stadium on Friday night, in what should be an intriguing matchup between two teams searching for answers. Tennessee suffered a disappointing defeat in their first preseason contest, falling 29-7 at Tampa Bay despite being installed as 3.5-point favorites. Atlanta also came up short in their opener, dropping a 17-10 decision to Detroit as 3.5-point underdogs at home. The Titans endured a brutal 3-14 campaign last season that tied them with two other franchises for the worst record in the entire NFL, which earned them the coveted #1 overall pick in the draft. They used that selection to grab quarterback Cam Ward, who completed 5 of 8 passes for 67 yards without throwing any touchdowns or interceptions during the 29-7 setback against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in his team's preseason debut. Atlanta also suffered a loss, but showed much more fight in the process, falling to the visiting Detroit Lions 17-10 in a competitive affair. What was particularly encouraging was the stellar performance turned in by third-string quarterback Easton Stick, who has established himself as a reliable backup option throughout his career. Stick was nearly perfect against Detroit, completing 15 of 18 attempts for 147 yards and a touchdown. The Titans are getting the nod from oddsmakers because they're expected to give some of their starters meaningful playing time, but it's worth remembering that this team has serious talent deficiencies regardless of who's actually on the field. The Falcons were held back offensively in their first game primarily because they relied heavily on their backup players throughout the contest. With the starters expected to see some action in this matchup, expect their offensive attack to look considerably sharper than it did in the opener, particularly on the ground with Bijan Robinson leading the charge. Tennessee couldn't generate any momentum whatsoever on the offensive side of the ball in their first game. With the exception of Ward's limited action, their quarterback play was absolutely dreadful, and they were completely unable to establish any sort of running game. The Falcons did an excellent job of defending against the pass in their first contest, and also kept Detroit's ground attack well under control, so expect more of the same defensive intensity in this game. Both of these clubs suffered defeats last week and had significant trouble putting points on the scoreboard, so both sides will be desperately looking for a much improved effort in this spot. Tennessee will give Ward another opportunity to show what he can do, and while he should be fine, backup options Allen and Simeon don't inspire much confidence in my opinion. On the other side, we know Stick has the ability to play well in preseason action, but I'm still not completely sold on what Jones brings to the table at this point. I really don't have much faith in either quarterback room in this game, and I think turnovers could become a major factor that swings the outcome. It's always difficult to feel confident about laying more than a field goal in any preseason game since there are so many unpredictable variables involved in what are essentially meaningless situations for the teams involved. This contest certainly falls into that category and presents similar challenges. As our first pick for this matchup, the Atlanta Falcons to cover the spread as underdogs is our full game side pick. The Titans managed just 7 points in their first game and did most of their offensive damage through the air rather than on the ground. The Falcons surrendered less than 150 passing yards in their last outing and don't have to worry about Tennessee beating them with their running game, which will allow them to focus their defensive attention on stopping the pass. With Atlanta holding the Lions to just 17 points in their first game, don't expect the Titans to put up big numbers against this defensive unit. The Falcons scored 10 points in their first contest and moved the ball effectively through the air, but they couldn't get their ground game established consistently, with the Titans showing they couldn't stop opposing rushing attacks in their first game. Expect the Falcons to exploit that defensive weakness by keeping the ball on the ground and controlling the clock throughout the game. Neither of these teams showcased much offensive firepower in their first preseason efforts, combining to score just 17 points in their respective losses last week. As noted multiple times, Atlanta is once again planning to sit their key pieces for this matchup. though they did put them through joint practices earlier in the week. That preparation doesn't really help us here since we're still looking at the Falcons' third-string quarterback handling much of the action. On the other side, we have a young Titans team that's looking to prove themselves, which sometimes gets them into trouble and leads to costly turnovers that prevent them from scoring. Tennessee won't have their starters on the field for extended periods, so don't expect them to run up the score either. The under has cashed in 4 of the last 5 meetings between these two clubs, establishing a clear trend in this matchup. Even though Tennessee surrendered 29 points in their first game, the Falcons won't be able to score enough points to push the final score past the projected total. As our second pick for this matchup, under the projected total is our full game total pick. Kansas City Chiefs versus Seattle Seahawks Week 2 of the NFL preseason is underway with a matchup of former American Football Conference West rivals on the gridiron in the Emerald City as the Kansas City Chiefs travel to take on the Seattle Seahawks on Friday night. Kansas City opened their preseason campaign with a 20-17 road loss to Arizona on Saturday night, falling short as 2.5-point favorites. Seattle kicked off their preseason slate with a 23-23 home tie against the Raiders last Thursday, managing to cover the line as 5.5-point underdogs. In the all-time regular season series between these teams, the Chiefs hold a 34-19 advantage, including a 24-10 home victory in their most recent meeting on December 24, 2022. After missing the playoffs last season, a completely revamped Seattle team continues working to build chemistry with one another as they head into Week 2 of the NFL preseason. The Seahawks have brought in plenty of new faces around town, including several noteworthy additions on the offensive side of the ball. There's still a considerable amount of cohesion that needs to be developed in Seattle before the regular season kicks off. With that in mind, look for Seattle to utilize more of their starting core for extended periods in this matchup against the Chiefs. Andy Reid's squad won't have many big names on the field for long stretches in this one, but that might not be the same approach for Seattle. It's challenging to get a read on what to expect here, especially from Kansas City. The Chiefs have been tight-lipped about how much, if at all, they'll have their starters on the field in this contest. Mahomes threw one official pass in the preseason opener and his night was over before the contest was even a minute old. He'd like to see some action, but health remains the top priority in preseason play. Seattle got some solid production from their backup players in their preseason opener, and one can expect to see Darnold, Kupp and company get at least a series or two in this contest. Playing at home, give the edge to the Seahawks. As our first pick for this matchup, the Seattle Seahawks to win and cover the spread as favorites is our full game side pick. Under coach Mike Macdonald, the Seahawks are 2-2 to the over at a number of 39.5 points in preseason games. However, those 4 games are averaging 41.5 combined points, so it's safe to say that they're consistently involved in higher scoring contests during the preseason. As for the Chiefs, they've been getting lit up recently in preseason action. Over their last 7 preseason games, they've been surrendering an average of 24 points per contest. Considering Drew Lock looked quite serviceable last weekend against the Raiders, throwing for 147 yards, 1 touchdown, and 1 interception, I anticipate him turning in another solid outing and picking apart the questionable depth players on the Chiefs' defense. As our second pick for this matchup, over the projected total is our full game total pick. That's all for now, so if you have any other games you would like reviewed, then leave a comment down below with the game you would like analyzed. Subscribe to our channel, leave a like on this video, and we'll get to it as soon as we possibly can. We would also love to hear your opinion on the picks presented to you in this video, whether you agree or disagree with them, so leave a comment down below and do let us know.